So is there a ghost in Dalton Hall? I don't know. But if there is, it's Ivan Malloy. Here's the story that lies behind that haunting. Ivan Malloy was a young Quebecois student from Chandler, Quebec, a lumber town in eastern part of Quebec. Ivan and two friends went in on the railway to the city on Friday the 13th, 1931. Now this was a time when SDU closed the campus. Students weren't allowed to leave the campus without the permission of the rector, except for certain afternoons and evenings through the course of the semester. Well, we don't know what Ivan and the two buddies did when they were downtown. It would appear perhaps that they'd been to a bootlegger. It's not clear. What is clear is that late that evening, they came walking back to the university through the heavy snow. When the two friends got back, they discovered that Ivan was no longer with them. They were already in trouble. They had missed their curfew. So the next morning, they found Ivan. He was lying in a field across from the university, behind a snowdrift, his arms outstretched. He froze to death through the night. For a small Catholic school, this was a huge scandal. In the absence of parents, the authorities of the college were the parents of these people. And to have this young man die on their watch, a 15-year-old kid die on their watch, was a horrible thing. Now, within a generation, stories appeared in student lore of a ghost at Dalton Hall. Ivan Malloy's name was soon lost, and other kinds of details got added to the story of Ivan. In one of them, he comes back to the residence after the curfew to find the prefect has locked the door against him and freezes to death literally on the doorstep of the university. Of course, that didn't happen. There are other stories that students living in the building when it was a residence would find water in kind of a puddle in the corridor near the room where he lived, which they felt was the snow melting off the body of his ghost. I've never encountered a ghost at Dalton Hall, but I can tell you that a few years ago, some of my students who knew nothing about the ghost story were telling me about walking across the parking lot outside of Dalton Hall late one evening and seeing a blue floating orb coming across the parking lot. It spooked them, and it spooks me.